continuous knowledge into your subject. Okay? Following the format, the non-negotiable parts we have identified. Okay? So it could be individual or it could be a group work. Clear na ba?
The instructions were clear po.
Yeah, okay. Sige. Of course, they're preparing now. So we will be waiting for them until 11:15, and then Ma'am Lopez, no, please encourage someone to present, and then I'll give comments, and then from there we end. But would you want to have the Q&A now or after the critiquing of the presentation? Ma'am Lopez, hello?
Yes, sir. We can now have the question and
Yeah.
answer or the open forum.
All right, sige. We'll do the open forum now while people are busy doing their lesson plan. Are there,
Participants who may want to ask questions regarding to the talk of our speaker, you may raise your hands. You may click the raise hands button if
huwag
you
kayong,
have questions,
don't be shy, wag mahiya. Tayo lang to.
or if you are shy to ask question, you can type it in the comment section.
Come on, better ask. I'm excited for the questions.
Okay, we have here a question from the Facebook Live because other students are watching through our Facebook Live. So the question is that culture-based instruction is the same with contextualization, wherein we are using this thing in doing a discussion or teaching the students. We contextualize our lessons, our topics, our examples. Is it the same?
Yeah, it's the same actually. There are many ways to call it. We also, as I've said earlier, it's also called in Canada. It's called place-based instruction. It's also called localization, contextualization. Yeah, so it's the same. No? So making use of your own culture and trying to complement things that should be learned inside the classroom. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for that question. Yeah, it's the same.
Okay, sir, thank you. So they already know that these things or these words or phrase are just the same.
Others, please. Saan tayo live na page so I can share it with my students also. You can PM me na lang, Miss Lopez. Thank you.
We are live po sa College of Education Extension Services page.
All
Yes
right.
po. I can send it to you po.
Yeah, thank you. How about the others? Very much excited to hear your voice too and answer your questions. Uh, para na ang mahirap na tanong ay kung paano, kasi may mga takot na DepEd teachers to change curriculum kasi daw that's a mandate from the division office. Yeah, I understand that and I respect that, but when we say integrate, we do not mean we change or we remove some so we can add culture. No, we're not saying that. But what we should be doing is enrich things that are already there, and we will not be removing any, no, any which are required from the division office. We will not remove any parts, but we will only enhance via adding samples, no, that are contextualized, as I've said earlier by the one who gave the comment. No, we contextualize samples, we localize topics, uh, we add our own culture into the lessons. Okay, I think there's a question. Do you have a question, Arlan? Mr. Arlan Agricola? So, I also highlight, no, the use of Wikipedia earlier. Ang dali-dali niyang gamitin, and makatulong sa referencing ninyo. So, yun. Tulungan nyo rin kami to edit, no, content from Bicol Wikipedia. Perhaps Ms. Lopez, they're very much busy organizing their thoughts for the workshop. So, do we end muna here and then we come back at 11:15? But I'll be staying. Do not worry. Yeah, Nestle, do you have question? Right? Very shy ang mga tao sa Sipocot. Ako lang to, no? So, yes, yes, Ma'am Salva.
So I just have question po, sir. When you
Yes.
talk about the differentiated instruction,
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to ask po, sir, if this differentiated instruction po ba, sir, is applicable po ba siya sa lahat na subject? For example po, ako as mathematics student po.
Mm-hmm. Kung applicable siya, yes, absolutely. Like, of course, there is always a way. It calls only for a creativity of the teacher, ano. So I, even with the final demo having with my students sa math, kasi I was once also a teacher of principles of teaching of mathematics majors, and I'm happy observing them during the final demo when they're having like yung mga yung topics nila on probability, and yung isa pa yung probabilities yung sa lotto baga. So they're putting up pang local carnival inside their class, so we're having the color games and the number games, and may pa sayaw-sayaw pa sila, paper dance. But the topic is actually mathematics, like bringing into their classroom a local culture that is being observed by the students in their locality during fiesta, like that one. Like if Filipino majors may conduct their parang ito parang piyestang bayan during buwan ng wika, Filipino majors may actually construct or build festivals during a demo teaching or a lesson, no, for example, for descriptive statistics, di ba, yung mga mode media, ang dami-dami natin pwedeng gamitin ng culture, lalo na gusto mo pa i-localize. So I don't know, I recommend the Bicol of the yung mga construction workers. Ang dami-dami nilang Bicol terms for mathematics na very poetic. Ayan. Ang dami-dami. So you can actually explore that indigenous knowledge collection for your research. Perhaps you can actually encourage students to explore on qualitative research via terms for number mathematical terms that are indigenous or that is Bicol. Ang dami-dami sa sa farming, sa fishing. Iyan ang ini-explore namin sa Calabanga. Yeah, you can also have your own sa local din ninyo sa Sipocot. You can do that.
Thank you po sir sa answer.
Yeah, thank you. That's a difficult question actually. Ay, parang wala na, no? So maghihintay tayo sa malakas ang mga loob na mag-present ng kanilang work. Sige, I'll be just Sir good morning. I have a question po. Since our student po came from different cultural background, how can we effectively integrate culture po in our lesson? To effectively integrate culture into the lesson, we do not choose one culture and highlight one culture over the other. So, as I've said early on, we have to, in a way, celebrate differences, variety, inside the classroom. Not only like projecting as if the culture of Sipocot always, no, and silencing other cultures that are being represented by your student. It's very much parang poetic when you have varied students inside your class. I'm very much happy when, for example, I have someone who's Muslim inside my class or someone from um, may minsan may Visayan. Although sometimes talaga uh, I, uh, it's quite weird hearing them speaking English. They have really this kind of unique tone of unique way of saying things, but you just have to understand that that's how people speak English uh, there in Visaya. So they have this intonation because of their local language. So we just have to respect, and be happy that there are different people inside your class. That makes your class unique, no, different from the rest. So how do you do that to be effective? You just have to welcome the idea that there are varied culture inside your class. You have also to be mindful of saying things because you might end up like hurting someone because for them a particular word should not be said but you've uttered. So a little bit of research is needed by a teacher so she will not discriminate any of the cultural aspect of his or her student. Yeah. So that I think is my answer to your question.
Thank you so much, sir. However, I saw someone raise his hand a while ago. Mr. Sandogon, do you have question?
Yeah, you may ask.
Mr. Sandogon? Mr. Junas, do you have question?
Yes.
Good morning, sir. Good morning po, everyone. I'm Junay Pabulais from College of Education. So, sir, yung tanong ko po is halos same lang po doon kay Miss Aya. So, the lesson plan and strategies that was presented a while ago, yung tanong ko po is about din sa inclusivity po since isa po akong Muslim. So, what can we do to ensure that our assessment methods are fair and inclusive, allowing all students to demonstrate their understanding and skills? So, uh, like po yung kanina po, yung pinresent niyo po na Wikipedia Bicol noon. So, halos hindi ko po naintindihan yung context doon kasi hindi po ako nakakaintindi and salita ng Bicol po. So, yung mga name lang po na highlights doon ng parang naintindihan ko.
I see. Yeah, yun din mabuti hindi ako nagsalita sa Bicol. No? I was like thinking of like making use of Bicol for this particular webinar. Thank you for raising that. Yeah. Another thing that we have to be mindful about is the use of language inside the classroom. So we, without knowing, no, we are not aware that a particular participant here or a member of your student inside your class cannot actually understand the vernacular, no, of the locality. So at the beginning of the school year, you have to ask them if they can understand your language. Yeah. So that's it. No. Another thing is that for lesson plan, di ba? For the the hardcore lesson plan, instructor would tell you, okay, you have to start always with a opening prayer. So that might actually be a big deal for non-Catholic, no, the non-Catholic. So therefore, um, opening a class for a prayer uh, should you have to think twice. So that is why for the books, 'di ba, on instruction presented early on, wala talaga yung opening the class opening it via opening prayer. Perhaps you can have an invocation or yung every day different prayers from different religion. You can have that. But to have a fixed prayer asking students to pray our Father, I think is not welcoming, is not inclusive. Yeah. So yeah, I have to highlight also that. No, so we refrain from having prayers that are fixed in one religion. So another way, 'di ba yung sinabi ko sa inyo kanina that I'm actually implementing little by little simple principles of internationalization. To internationalize the campus is also to acknowledge uh, other ways of praying. Yes, Janus.
Yes po, sir. My question po, sir, is all about the how can we effectively integrate Bicol culture into our university's curriculum and campus life to promote cultural diversity and appreciation among students and staff?
Just go. It's a question of the planning office, and the university indigenous center director. But yes, when I visited universities outside the Philippines, what I've realized is that we have to double time in integrating our local knowledge and our indigenous practices and belief system into the system of the university, into the trust of the university. I'm saying this also, and at the same time acknowledging that the university is agricultural. And so the way forward is to really look at our niche programs and to anchor our activities and programs into our niche program, into agriculture, in our case into fisheries, but not also forgetting the local, no, indigenous knowledge that are connected to this discipline like fishery. Sa fishery, paano natin makakontextualize, malolocalize, makakulturally based yung activities natin in the campus, in my case. Well, Pag sa literary pieces, uh, hindi ko naman babawasan na yung mga ipapabasa ko sa mga estudyante ko. Pero why not highlighting stories that are set in the sea? 'Di ba? Na may dagat, na may tubig. Why not ask them to read poetry that is with fish? Mga ganong klase. No? So parang ano lang natin, hindi babaguhin, hindi walang aalisin, kundi again, as I've said earlier, we will just enrich the curriculum. Ang sabi ko niyan, fisherizing, malamang ganong klaseng term. Parang um, kung may internationalize, dapat may fisherize, agriculturalize yung curriculum natin. Parang ganon. Hindi lang adding subjects, that is two subjects, 6 units ba yun, agriculture, into the curriculum. But also, changing a bit culture, like having policies on parang planting trees, and adding it to the mandate of the campus of the university. Parang ganun. Simple
Thank you po,
ways.
sir.
Yes. Thank you. Ang hirap naman ng tanong mo, pang administration. Yes, John Eric.
Good morning po. I would like to say that this was really such an interesting discussion about cultural based instruction po. And my question po, sir, is how do you think can educators ensure that this culturally based instruction is aligned po with the academic standards and curriculum requirements po, sir?
Very interesting. Yeah. Although we have like trust, although we have like these advocacies, yung culture-based instruction is among lang of many advocacies that we want to push forward, di ba? If you've noticed, I've been also stressing yung internationalization as an advocacy along culture base. But in the campus, even with your own campus, the GAD coordinator also pushes advocacies on the GAD gender development, di ba? And we also have like advocacies on uh, equality, no? And then politically correctness. A lot of advocacies that we have to address when we decide our curriculum. But at the end of the day, we go back to the original of it all, no? So what I mean is that we should not forget the non-negotiable of the curriculum, and that is to address really the individual CMOs of the CHED, no? The basic standards, the basic competencies that should be addressed by the curriculum designers, developers. So what I'm trying to say, these advocacies are just add-ons. We should not be harm. These advocacy should not be harmful to the content that are standards set by the department, by the CHED, by CMO, by the policies, by the laws that governs the curriculum. Yeah. Thank you for also highlighting that. Yeah. We should not be forgetting that. Although we have a lot of advocacies, a lot of things that we wanted to be integrated in the curriculum as way to enrich, as way to complement the curriculum, but we should not make sure we should not harm the basic qualities, competencies that the student should learn, the basic skills and competencies that our learner should actually gain from our instruction. Yeah, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Yes, Casey.
Sir, good morning po. I have question po on how can educators effectively incorporate elements of students' diverse culture sa kanilang lesson plan po and foster meaningful cultural discussion sa loob ng classroom.
Okay. So one principle that you have to implement as a teacher is that principle to is that everyone is free to speak and committing mistake is not a crime. So people will be free, expressing their thoughts, expressing their own idea on a particular topic. Especially when you're conducting literature subjects or culture, yung parang culture based uh, uh, instruction really, no, parang hindi pwede na may iisa ka lang na tamang answer, no. Questions in a literature class should be divergent in nature, no. Parang it has to welcome varied responses from the students. So it's not a question of correctness but appropriateness of the responses of our students. So it's not a question of ay mali ka, no, you can't say that, walang mali, but um, are the responses appropriate in the context? Are the responses in a way connected to the question? If they are, then they should be accepted as a correct answer. Yeah. And at the same time, another way of ensuring that students are learning from you when you implement culture-based instruction is that one, you should not sound like a priest or moralizing in front of your class. No, your culture-based instruction is not a GMRC class. We are not there to say the goodness and the badness of a particular culture, but presenting, no, the culture and its effect to the community. 'Di ba? Kasi may mga kultura din na kailangan natin i-stop kasi it's not nurturing. It's even harming like animals or trees. Kung may kultura na kailangan magputol ng mga puno, I think yung kulturang iyon ay should be stopped. Kung may kultura ang isang community that there should be a massacre of dogs, I think we have to stop that particular culture. If it harms another living individual, then we have to stop it. So pero yeah, case to case yung answer ni Sir Jerome doon, ano. Kasi again, we have to be uh, we should be relevant, but we should also be aware that there are culture that needs to be that there are culture that need to be stopped. Or to say po ito.
Thank you, sir.
Apo. Good morning, sir. Hindi po ba may hinder ang pagtuturo using culture when two cultures are contradicting? Example po is, ibang lugar pwede po yung malayo, but in some places it is considered as disrespectful. How can we make sure po na we can effectively share the culture and our lesson without confusing students? Yeah. So yeah, the very for classroom management, huwag lang natin kalilimutan yung golden rules for classroom management. Any policy that you wanted to implement for the entire school year should be clear at the beginning of the school year to students. So when you implement a culture-based instruction, you say that, ladies and gentlemen, for this semester we're implementing culture-based instruction, and you are very much aware that for culture-based instruction, it is important that the entire class should be respectful to varying cultures, no matter how small or no matter how few the representative of that culture to the class. Still, that particular culture should be respected. Pag kung may conflicting culture naman, there is always room for a dialogue or conversation. So, yeah, it's understanding. I call it the principle as coexistence. No, so there should be a coexistence of those cultures that are can you still hear me, that are contradicting?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Ano pa yon? Yun yung style doon, no. So dapat klarado sa sa mga estudyante natin at the beginning of the school year. Coexistence means also providing spaces that are safe, no, safe spaces in the buildings and in the in the in the campus. So you make mga safe zone spaces, like for example, kapag nasasad ang isang bata na galing sa isang place kasi wala siyang ibang kaibigan, 'di ba? Kasi ibang-iba yung kultura nila. So dapat may space yung campus natin where individuals having difficulty, integrating because of his or her culture, there should be a safe space for him or her. So ganun siguro. It's always a dream, no? Kahit ako, pushing for internationalization, I also dream for parang not even a building but perhaps a room, no, for them, no. It's safe space room. We can have like parang a sala set there, a nook, 'di ba? Parang a small room where someone may actually do whatever he wanted or she wanted to do, or a ritual different from us, and he or she will not be discriminated when he or she does it. Basta lang safe sa mga ganong klaseng bagay. So it's a safe space room or a safe space zone. Parang ganon. May isa pang tanong. Good morning, sir. My question is, what are the most effective and innovative approaches for integrating culture-based instruction in educational setting to improve the overall quality in education for diverse students population? Again, I've answered this already earlier. There's no best approach. There's no best way to integrate culture. Yeah, there are only ways. There are no best ways unless other teachers or other campus or other universities are already asking help from you to ask for your innovation, so that particular innovation will be implemented in the other university. That becomes uh, parang best practice. Pero I always parang postponing calling my practices as best practices because we're still at the in the process we're still in the process of becoming best. So yeah, so there are many ways to attack it, but there's no best way to do it. Good morning, sir. Paano po magiging maipasok ang kulturang panitikan at sining ng Bicol sa sistema ng edukasyon upang mahikayat ang mas malalim ng pag-unawa at pagpapahalaga sa natatanging kultura ng rehiyon? So I think the very first thing that we have to consider is to fix our academic culture, especially that there are still some, faculty members who are, purists. They do not want to change their own curriculum, right? The moment they've started teaching up until now, it's the same run of instruction that they're implementing. We have to change that perspective. Nowadays, teachers should, try varying innovative ways of teaching, and culture-based instruction is among lang ways of attacking it. No? Pero again, we're pursuing this because there's no better way to learn than to acknowledge our own culture. No? Acknowledging your own culture is also acknowledging your own self because you are a part. Whether or not you accept it, you belong to your own culture. Kay gusto mo, kay ayaw mo, no? Kasali ka sa sarili mong kultura. So yeah, wala kang magagawa doon. So better yet, uh, integrate what you know as a Bicol noon to the kind of learning, the kind of teaching that you do. If you are a teacher already, if you are a student, integrate what you know, no, or what you've learned from your grandparents, from your cousins, from your mother, father, into the kind of learning that you get from the university. Ano po ba yung practical examples of activities or discussion that can help po mga students to explore and appreciate different cultures as part of the curriculum? Ang dami-dami. Di ba nag-share ako kanina ng a way parang making use of a text of book as a cultural map. We're also doing ano pa mga ginawa mo? Yung mga literary tour, di ba? From, kaya lang magastos yun, no? From Ticao to Sorsogon to Albay. Ano pa pwede natin magawa? Ang dami-dami, di ba? Ang basic na hindi masyadong magastos is to bring real things into your class. Realia, making use of realia, making use of things around you as an instructional material. That would make your materials very relevant, very meaningful to students because they can associate their own experience, their own agi-agi into the kind of material, real materials that you bring inside your na materials that you bring inside your class, di ba? Yung ano kaya, yung mga bagay na yon that are very native to the students are loaded with meanings. At kapag nagturo ka, pati yung mga meanings that students associated with real objects are helping, no? Students learn more from you. Kasi ang isang baso ay hindi isang black na baso lamang. Ito ay meaningful kasi students are associating something, no, with the cup, no. Perhaps na-associate nila kung walang kuryente dahil nagbagyo, their lolo would make coffee for them, ganon. Yung mga bagay na iyon, mga real objects are not objects themselves. They are not only objects, they are also meanings to students. We have to highlight that. Good question po, sir. How easy would it be for us to teach a class with group of students from very different culture, religion, from each other, especially in our lesson po? So we will never know unless we try. Yeah? So I think the invitation for today is to try to respect and appreciate differences. Celebrate differences into your own classroom. That's what I do. So I should not be like only teaching you this. I should also doing it in my own classroom. So it is also a reminder for myself. Yeah. Okay na ba? Magandang umaga po, sir. May tanong lang po hinggil sa kung ano po ang pinaka-best na strategiya na kailangan gamitin ng guro sa pagtuturo ng wika sa Filipino kung mayroon po silang iba-ibang kultura o religion. Sinabi ko na nga, no, so we're always looking for the best, pero walang best, no? When you do a thing best, that's already excellence. You don't keep on looking for the best one, the good one. It's a myth. Walang ganon. No, basta sa sarili mo, gawin mo yung tama at gawin mo yung nararapat, yung maganda para sa iyo para ma-integrate mo yung kultura ng mga estudyante mo sa klase mo, yun yung best. No? So, yeah, that's one way to decolonize the word best. Ang best ay mito ang best. Ang pinakamaganda ay isang mito. Kay Eman, good morning, sir. I'm making a lesson plan. How can we ensure that the lesson plan is culturally sensitive and respectful? Are there any potential pitfalls or misconceptions to avoid? What step must we take to ensure that the lesson plan is respectful, accurate in its portrayal of the culture? Well, ang dami-dami. So, you start the journey via looking at the words. The words are like bagay, hindi lang sila mga bagay. Words are not only words, they are also meaning. And so, when you miss something there, or you limit yourself to a particular term, you might be discriminating a group of people. So, yeah. Even even with ano baga letters, if you can notice with our ano friends from LGBT, may mga nare-receive tayo na instead of MR for Mr. MS for Miss, there are also like MX to refer to the plus in terms of gender. Parang ganon na these are simple ways by which we are actually respecting the differences of the others. And of course, no othering, no? Itong simple pagsabing others ka man, it might be a joke for some, but you don't do that because othering is discriminating. No? Dapat kita. It has to be always the we attitude. We. No? So for teachers, it's the we attitude also. Depende na. Can you please give me? That's very self-centered statement. I would usually ask my student teachers to revise their lesson plan if I read parts that are can you give me examples of the so that's very teacher centered. We have to be we attitude. Instead of doing that, you say uh, uh, can 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 you give three examples of proper nouns? Yes, sassy. So, parang ganun ang tanong, di ba? Hindi dapat nakasentro sa teacher at nakasentro sa iilang estudyante sa loob ng paaralan. We always have to, target the entire class, no, or maximize the potential of majority, if not all, of our students. Good morning, sir. I'm making a lesson plan. How can we ensure that the lesson plan is culturally sensitive and respectful? Are there any ang pitfalls naman? Pitfalls could be when you try to limit na yung description of a particular culture. Yung sinabi ko kanina, kung Bicol ba dapat lagi ang sample mo mayon at sili ice cream at ano ba? Ina, 'di ba? Ang dami-daming pwedeng samples din. Butanding for Sorsogon. So, can we think of other symbols, metaphors for Bicol that are very much unique and as important as those that are already mentioned? Ganon. So, you explore on other local knowledge, local cultural treasures of the region, if not of your own community, of your own town, or your own barangay. I always go for the barangay level, yeah, of the town level. Why mention like Mayon? Mayon is not in Naga, like Mayon is not in Calabanga. Like I always would talk about Hinuli and San Miguel Bay because that's Calabanga. The the hills, the Canibag Hills, the twin Canibag Hills, the Isa Road. Our background is the majestic Isa Road. Yun. Can we hear samples now? One sample of culture-based instruction. Anyone? Any brave soul? Hello?
Participants, are you now ready to present your output?
Sige na, mag-share na ka mo. So we have Jenna Lee. Good morning, sir. Tanong ko lang po, kung paano po ba malalaman kung ang ginawa po nating lesson plan ay culturally sensitive sa ating estudyante? Ah, pu- uh, culturally sensitive. It's always an attempt. So it's for the students to identify. Kaya kailangan din yung feedbacking from our students. Mahalaga. Laging takot yung mga teachers sa kung ano ang sasabihin ng estudyante, but mahalaga yung boses ng mga bata. No? So, it is important that within the semester, teachers also ask feedback from students, so we improve also our instruction. So, no matter how many times we assert that our class is gender sensitive, is culturally based sensitive, is internationalization ready. Okay. uh, but as to evaluation, it's the student who will say if it's really culturally based. Pero again, as a teacher, we try to develop instructions that are culturally based. We try our best to do it. Kasi again, as I've said, when you do it, when you believe that it's already your best, you're actually doing your best. No? So, ano yun lagi nating hinahanap na dapat yung pinaka, pero walang pinaka lagi. We're always in the process of becoming one. Yeah. Good morning, sir. There are students that does not have any religious belief. So they are invested that science has an explanation for everything, and they do not acknowledge other cultures and beliefs. In connection with this, how do we incorporate the values integration, culture, and beliefs in the lesson without having a debate or invalidated? Yeah, again, thank you for that. No, so highlighting on that. So again, as I mentioned earlier, so you set the standard, you set the policy at the early stage of the school year. You say that this particular class is a safe zone class, that this class is inclusive. We are respecting different religion as well as non-belief of any of the religion. Like choosing to not believe is a belief. So I think there's a play of idea on that. No? So not believing is believing actually. You cannot assume that you're not believing if you're not you're not believing that there is. So when you claim that you're not believing on something, you're actually establishing that there is. Yeah. So, but it's not. We should not be debating on that. Like what we're trying to say here is that we have to respect those varying belief system, but also those people who do not believe in any. Yeah. So I think it's a safe safe thing to say that. Safe it's safe to say that na yeah, lahat natin nire-respeto. So dapat klarado ito sa umpisa ng klase ng school year natin para safe tayo. Yeah, welcome. Yeah. We're actually waiting for people who yeah, yes, Janus.
My question po, Sir ulit,
Sige po.
how can we incorporate elements of Bicol culture such as its traditional dance and cuisine into our lesson plan on regional diversity and traditions to help students gain a deeper understanding of the cultural heritage of the Bicolanos?
Perfect question. No? So, I think prior to the pandemic, I think it's in 2018 or 19. as students who's an active member of some it's the theater group theatrical group of CBSUA-Calabanga decided to come up with a dance exploring a dance a thesis on Bicol dance. So what I've recommended is for him to it becomes a production research. I've asked him to design a dance literature for the native fish, endemic fish in Calabanga. I've asked him to, write the literature for Abo dance. So may Abo dance na Calabanga. Parang ganon. So, designing literature of the Abo dance does not only designing the steps for the dance and the music and the tempo, but also designing the costume. Diba? Yeah, it's dance, but it's also arts. It's also culture, right? So that's how you integrating one's culture is actually integrating your own identity into the instruction. So you always go back to the self. No, culture-based instruction is inward, looking back. So our constellation is not there outside looking at the sky, but our constellation should be inward, nasa loob yung identidad, no? Nasa loob lagi yung kultura. Kasi tayo ay kultura. We're a member of culture. Yeah. So yun. Thank you for that.
Thank you po, sir.
Yes. So we have, Sir, good morning po. Ano po ba yung some tips or advice mo sa students para ma-encourage sila na explore and appreciate Bicol oral tradition, folklore in the context of literature? Well, for research, we're doing recording of our oral narrative. Actually, mas ahead yung Sipocot campus. Sorry. You have once there, Dr. Nieva, Luke Nieva, no, your previous research director who actually collected oral narrative of the Partido area. So he's she's one actually of our um, theoretical background. No? So we make use of her Tagubhang theory as a reference to the way we collect oral narratives of Calabanga, Tinambak, and Seruma. Yeah. So I asked them to, at this point where we have an ongoing research on Juan Usong of the Bicol, right? So exploring humor, wit of the Bicol doon. Parang ganun. Ah, ano lang kami, kumukuha at this point of time sa research, napakayang pa ang Calabanga campus. So we're actually establishing a baseline data. May tanong pa po ba? Parang wala na, ma'am. Do we call it a day?
I think someone is preparing for
Yeah.
the presentation po.
Sige. I'm excited to that. Yeah. So when we ask of extension, we're asking really of the impact, and my impact is not my participants, but the impact of your lesson plan to your student. When your student in the future will learn out of the way you design your a culture-based instruction, that's should be a top of on my back now. No, it's my impact. My impact is your student, not you as my participant. So you better make good use of application for this particular webinar. Diba later on kasi sa accreditation you'll be asked of the impact, and impact is the effect to the effect. We have here a question: what strategies can we employ to ensure that cultural discussion are respectful, inclusive, and promote active participation from all students regardless of their cultural background? So, yeah. Siguro, yung mga researches and yung mga efforts natin on advocacy should be strengthened and should be backed up by policies. So, yan ang lagi sa aming reminder ng bago naming campus administrator, Dr. Daryl Palmiano, to make sure that these findings, that these practices are backed up by kinda parang policies. So we make policies. So like for example, if you want an advocacy on culture, as I do, diba? So we have to make policies that the campus should be safe place for varied cultures. But culture-based instruction is not in a vacuum. We are with other advocacies. So what I'm actually doing, kasi I'm also chairing the IM committee, instructional materials committee, is that I'm trying to synthesize advocacies and adding these advocacies among the descriptors for the rubrics to assess IMO instructors in the campus. We wanted this to be synthesized na hindi pwede na permi lang ang sikat ang GAD na gender development. 'Di ba? Hindi pwede na kasi sila lang kasi ang may budget. Sino ba ang magbibigay ng budget sa culture, 'di ba? So wala na lang budget, hindi pa natin i-explore. So, yun. We have to synthesize the advocacies like God. Dapat God, God responsive. Dapat culture-based, culture responsive ang curriculum natin. Pero dapat internationalization, din siya, responsive. Tapos dapat future proof siya. Pandemic proof. Responsive curriculum pa siya. So we enumerate all these trusts and advocacies and sa kind directions and guides so that we create an instruction that is really responsive for all these advocacies. Meron pa tayong multilingual, multicultural, responsive, mga ganun, diba? So we synthesize all this for you as a campus, and then we try to make rubrics for IM that would have the would include descriptors for all these responses and advocacies. Trying to make sure that IMs that we will be approving for use to students are responsive to all these important advocacies. How can the integration of Bicol culture, literature, and the arts in the lesson plan be used as a means to instill and enforce important values and ethics among students, fostering a deeper sense of culture and moral understanding? Alam mo, ang ganda-ganda when you make use of mga kasabihan and proverbs. Alam mo ba, when I browse, scanned the history book written by Jaime Malanya, because I was trying my best to, record important figures of our locality. What I've noticed is that even with his book on history, he made use of spaces that are available for proverbs, Bicol proverbs, yung mga local kasabihan. Parang history book siya, tas masaya lang ako kasi history book siya. So sa mga spaces na may mga blank spaces, may mga nakasulat siya doon ng mga Bicol sasabihon, mga idioms and mga proverbs na in Bicol. I like it, no? So yeah, how when there is when in any possible means, ways, pag may oportunidad, you please try to integrate culture, no? If in all opportunities that come along your way into the instruction and curriculum and other aspect of your university life, please do integrate. Do not forget to integrate our own identity, our own culture, our Bicolness. Diba? Yeah. Yes, John Eric.
Yes, sir. Good morning po once again. Um, we are actually we have prepared a short presentation po regarding the
Sige.
workshop. I I have collaborated po with Mr. Ace Ikalner. We are the BSEd English 3A po from
Wow,
Sipocot.
wow, wow. You've learned that from your from your TTL.
Sir?
Have you learned that from your TTL, your technology class
Yes,
course? Yeah,
yes po, sir.
yeah, very good. Yeah, so yeah, you can now present your work.
Um, Mr. Ace Ikalner, are you there? Can you present the uh, So ayan po, good morning again. I hope I am audible.
Yes,
So
loud and clear.
yes po, sir. So to integrate this culturally based instruction and teaching, um, we have decided that literature will be more relevant to this po, sir. And with because in literature we can focus on specific topics that we can which we can integrate cultural based instruction po. So here we have given a short story. My father goes to court uh, by Carlos Bulusan. And for the short description of this, po, sir, um, I would like to call on my partner, Mr. Kessler.
All right, Ace. Thank you, John.
Hello po, good morning. Um, Carlos Bulusan, the story of My Father Goes to Court po involves, it shows the injustice where the rich accuses the poor family of the protagonist, in which the protagonist's father was accused of stealing the spirit uh, of being the rich, in which it made the antagonist's family thin and frail looking, which is why when um, the protagonist's father was called to court, they showed that it wasn't their fault that the antagonist's family was thin and frail looking. That's the short description of My Father Goes to Court.
All right.
Okay. So how is this relevant? So this is one of the strategy that we have come up with. So we select a variety of short stories from our local local writers, sir. Um, in this case, we have chosen this short story, and the subject matter that we are going to aim for are the following. So first, we identify the elements of a short story. Next, we could identify culture that can be observed in the story, and then um, we relate one's own experiences in the story. So this can be the strategies that we can incorporate, po, sir. So since we have chosen uh, the topic, the story already. We discussed then the culture elements presented in the story, such as in traditions, customs, or beliefs, and how they shape the characters and plot. So also we encourage students to connect the story to their own experiences to be more, uh, because as we say, students are culturally diverse. Um, they come from different culture backgrounds, sharing similarities or differences that they notice frequently. So next one is we analyze how cultural perspectives influence the characters' actions, uh, the motivations or conflicts in the story, within the story, and we need to have students reflect on how their own cultural experiences might influence their interpretation of the story, and then fostering a deeper understanding of perspective. Sorry, I'm nervous. I'm stuttering. So yeah. This can also be applied, sir, depending uh, on the subject. For instance, we are teaching stylistic analysis. We can have our students look for different um, local literature that they can find, and then after analyzing the cultural backgrounds that they can find within the story, we can have them um, analyze how that influenced the writer, how that um, shaped the character, and then um, we facilitate discussions on cultural themes, the values and lessons reflected in the story poster, and then encourage students to compare and contrast um, the similarities and differences that they can find in the storytelling techniques poster, and have them create their uh, own retelling or adaptation poster in incorporating their own cultural perspective. So by incorporating this culturally diverse um, medium, we facilitate discussion and encourage creative expression process, which we can engage students in literature while promoting cultural understanding and appreciation at the same time. So thank you for
Yeah, that's a very good example, John, Eric, and Ace, no? So, si Bulusan talaga make use of culture to come up with a very good stories, no? So, di ba sa kanya rin yung The Laughter of My Father? Kay Bulusan din yun. Hello? Yeah, maganda yung nagawa niyo, ano? So, pero so ano lang siguro, like for example, just for you to improve on the way you present siguro yung ano natin, yung ideas. So instead of like having general description, why not include there the objective instead, no? Pag when you identify kasi the topics, the target, better make use of objectives than descriptions, ano? Like yung pag when you're trying to discuss elements, you try to identify the specific elements. So would you focus more on the character, or would you focus more on the plot or setting? So yun. So we identify those, so your students, the future students will be aware of what to expect in the discussion proper. No, when you discuss it in the discussion proper of that particular short story. Another reminder, no. So actually very good na yung ano niya nila, yung strategies nila. They wanted to look into the storytelling techniques of the author, and trying to connect to connect it to the plot of the story and the dilemma, perhaps, ano. They were like describing the protagonist and the antagonist and the issue behind the conflict, no. So ang ganda-ganda lang. Yeah, but I think to make it more culturally based, perhaps you introduce activities perhaps, for branching or for the ending part, activities that would force students to go into their own barangay, into their own locality, and look for something that is connected to the story. Pero wag naman silang maghanap ng kaaway. Maghanap sila ng certain information that is connected also to the story. Parang an simple activity. Ano? And also, of course, it's a very good classical Philippine literature in English text. But I also invite Ace and John Chris to also consider uh, short stories, Bicol short stories in English. Di ba? I presented earlier yung ang gagaling nila, si Presnosa of Sorsogon, writes in English, and sino to sa babae, itong si Midnight, nagsurat ng Midnight na from Irga. Is one of the best short story writer in English. O sa poet naman, si Manalang Gloria, na taga Tabaco, napangasawa ng taga Tabaco. And she's very rich, so she stopped writing poetry. At the end of the day, mayaman naman na siya. Yeah, parang ganun. Yeah, so very good. So can we give Ace and John Eric digital applauses? Paano ba itong i-click? Parang ganun. Yeah, very good. Very good talaga sila. And to think they're only third year. Yung isa ako sa mga nag-design ng curriculum. Isa sa mga difficult semester for an English major is first semester of their third year. Halos lahat, literature subject except of journalism. Yeah, except of journalism and one more subject. All of the subjects are literature subjects. No? So, kaya stressful ang mga English major ngayong semester. Alam ko yan. So I empathize with them. Yeah, pero they did well. Very good. Yeah. Yeah. So I think I'm done. And I'm happy that someone presented an output. And I'm sure there are more. I think you have a workshop this afternoon. Thank you for inviting me. It was a tiring but a happy morning, Saturday morning, being with you today. Thank you very much, CBSUA-Sipocot, for always inviting me.
Thank you, sir.
Uh,
Thank you so much, Sir Jerome, for your very informative and fruitful talk. Based from your talk, I realized and we realized that culture based instruction is like contextualization. Teachers may relate lessons to the real life happenings of the learners. Teachers may use examples that the students can relate to catch their attentions and make the teaching and learning process more interactive. It's like integrating our culture, arts, and literature in the curriculum.